In the bustling city of Boston, where autumn painted the streets with its golden hues, a 21-year-old young man with brown hair and eyes stood out in the crowd. Sam, as he was known to everyone around him, found his daily passion in working as a waiter in the heart of the city. At the Night Flavor restaurant, he not only served delicious dishes but also warm smiles, becoming a welcoming presence for the customers. Sam's joy and extroversion extended beyond the workplace. He was a true life enthusiast, always seeking new friendships and adventures. His popularity knew no bounds, winning over co-workers and clients alike. Despite the challenges of being an only child of divorced parents, Sam maintained affectionate ties with both, residing with his mother while making regular visits to his father. Sam's dreams were as vast as his will to live. Driven by curiosity, he yearned to explore the world, absorb different cultures and languages. His eyes sparkled with passion for psychology, aspiring to become a therapist. While not realizing these plans yet, he immersed himself in the pages of books, feeding his mind with stories of fiction and nonfiction. On a particular Friday, Sam was more exhausted than usual as he had been tasked with closing the restaurant. As he organized tables, closed the cash register, and bid farewell to coworkers, the additional responsibility weighed on his shoulders. The last invoice issued, the lights dimmed, Sam locked the restaurant door with a sigh of relief. Feeling the cold autumn breeze as he left the restaurant, he walked through streets illuminated by yellow lights, eager to get home and rest. Thoughts of his aspirations and the satisfied faces of customers accompanied him as he headed to the bus stop. Soon the bus arrived, and upon entering, Sam sought the window seat at the back of the vehicle, his private refuge on silent nights. The usual journey home provided him moments of reflection as the city lights danced outside. He leaned back, closed his eyes for a moment, and let himself be carried away by the gentle melody of one of his favorite songs. However, something seemed unusual on that quiet Friday. Sam felt an indescribable presence, as if a shadow hung over him. A subtle feeling of unease enveloped him, but he shook his head, attributing it to the accumulated fatigue of the day. Again, his eyes closed slowly. He was so tired that it didn't take long for him to fall asleep. At first, his sleep was peaceful. He dreamed of exotic places where he met interesting people and lived exciting adventures. However, as the dream deepened, he began to feel uncomfortable. In his dream, he was in a dark and gloomy place. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a malevolent presence around him. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. He tried to run, but he was stuck. Sam woke up suddenly, covered in cold sweat. His eyes scanned the interior of the bus, but he found no one else but himself. They were at the end of the line. Darkness enveloped the bus, with only the headlights cutting through the vast darkness outside. The dimness created a heavy atmosphere, and a dense silence hung, interrupted only by the distant hum of the engine. Sam's heart raced as he tried to understand how he had ended up there, alone in the silent night. Sam stood up, feeling a shiver down his spine, and headed towards the driver's compartment. With each step, intense silence echoed around him. Upon reaching the cabin, a staggering discovery left him stunned. There was no one at the wheel. His eyes widened at the sight of the empty seat. At this moment, a growing despair seized Sam. Panic compelled him to leave the vehicle in search of help. He hurried to the bus door, his hands trembling as he tried to open it. However, to his surprise, the door was locked. A sense of claustrophobia took hold of him, while the darkness outside seemed denser and more threatening. Sam, now distressed, began to pound on the windows, hoping to attract the attention of someone who could explain what was happening. The silence continued to dominate, only interrupted by the muffled sound of his rapidly beating heart. Pounding on the windows desperately, suddenly a man appeared from outside. His appearance was horrifying, with wide-eyed terror reflecting deep fear. The man's face bore scars that seemed to tell dark stories, and his hands were stained with blood, as if he had just emerged from a horrendous situation. The sight of the man made Sam even more apprehensive, and he tried to communicate, gesturing and shouting, but there was no sound, as if the silence of the night had swallowed his words. The man outside only stared at Sam with a mix of terror and anguish, leaving in the air the feeling that something sinister loomed over that isolated place. The man circled towards the door. Immediately, he broke the glass with the axe in his hands and entered. The noise of the shattering glass echoed through the bus, resonating in the silent night. Sam, with a racing heart, retreated to the back of the bus as the man advanced slowly towards him. The axe gleamed in the faint light inside the vehicle, and the scars on his face added a macabre touch to the scene. Sam, desperate, sought an exit, but the man blocked his way. The silence persisted, making the situation even more oppressive. With no alternatives, Sam moved towards the side aisle, trying to escape from the sinister man who pursued him relentlessly. Each step echoed like a deafening drum, and the bus became a claustrophobic labyrinth. The bus headlights cast unsettling beams of light through the darkness outside, revealing distorted shadows dancing to the rhythm of Sam's agony. The suffocating atmosphere of the vehicle turned into a nightmare stage where the young waiter desperately tried to escape the ominous night passenger. Sam managed to activate the emergency windows and jumped outside, feeling the impact of his feet on the cold night ground. The cold air cut his face, contrasting with the intense heat of the situation he had just faced. Panting, he looked back, seeing the man in the bus staring at him with empty eyes. The deserted street stretched before Sam, illuminated only by scattered lampposts. He began to run without knowing the right direction. The man followed him, wanting to take his life. Footsteps echoed in the silent alleys. There was no one who could help Sam. Sam entered a dead-end street, and it was at that moment that the man caught up with him. The narrow alley transformed into his momentary prison. Sam, panting, turned to face his pursuer. Sam desperately pleaded for the man not to harm him. However, the expressionless face of the pursuer indicated that his intentions were the worst possible. Sam's anguished plea hung in the air, but it found no echo in the dark heart of the man. Ignoring the pleas, he raised the axe, and with a cruel motion, he took Sam's life. The sound of the axe cutting through the air was followed by a deadly silence that enveloped the macabre scene. Sam's lifeless body fell on the deserted ground, and the blood began to mix with the darkness of the street. The man, after consummating his sinister act, remained impassive in the face of the result of his relentless pursuit. The dead-end street turned into a dark and silent stage where Sam's life was brutally interrupted. The pursuer, now satisfied by his deadly pursuit, disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind only the sinister memory of a fateful encounter.